At the Royal Burger Zoo in Arnhem, everyone was deeply concerned. Mama, the 59-year-old chimpanzee matriarch, hadn't eaten in days. Her decline was rapid, and time was slipping away. Amidst this quiet crisis, a familiar voice was about to change everything. Mama was more than just another animal at the Royal Burger Zoo. She was a legend. As the revered matriarch of a thriving chimpanzee colony, she had played a crucial role in its social harmony. But as she aged, her health began to deteriorate. Despite the dedicated efforts of zookeepers and veterinarians, her condition worsened until she finally stopped eating. The zoo staff was heartbroken. They had witnessed Mama overcome immense challenges over the years and couldn't bear the thought of losing her like this. Sadly, it was the inevitable course of nature, and there was little they could do but keep her comfortable. The hardest part was knowing that Mama would never fully understand the impact she had made, not just in their lives but in the world at large. Born in the wild, Mama had been a subject of groundbreaking research on primate behavior since her arrival at the zoo. She had been orphaned at a young age due to poaching, but was rescued by conservationists and brought to the Royal Burger Zoo in Arnhem, Netherlands. Here she became a central figure in research, playing a vital role in understanding primate behavior. Mama quickly adapted to her new environment, forming deep bonds with both her fellow chimpanzees and the humans who cared for her. As matriarch, she maintained social harmony and taught younger chimps essential survival skills. Her intelligence and gentle nature made her a favorite among zoo staff and visitors alike. Her life in captivity was far from the wild, but it provided her with safety and opportunities to contribute to science and conservation. She became an invaluable subject in studies, particularly those led by renowned primatologist Professor Jan van Hooff. Jan first met Mama in 1972 when he co-founded the chimpanzee colony at the zoo. From their very first encounter, a unique bond formed between the young scientist and the charismatic chimpanzee. Over the years, Jan's visits became routine. He was not just a researcher, but a true friend. Their relationship was built on mutual respect and affection, strengthened by countless hours of interaction and quiet companionship. In April 2016, news of Mama's deteriorating health reached Jan, who had since retired but remained closely connected to the zoo. When he heard that she had stopped eating, he knew he had to visit her one last time. Jan's decision to visit wasn't just about scientific curiosity, it was deeply personal. Mama had not only been a subject of his research, but an integral part of his life. The thought of her suffering alone was unbearable. As he traveled, his mind replayed memories of their time together. The young, energetic Mama, who had quickly taken charge of the colony, her intelligence, her social skills, and the invaluable lessons she had taught him about chimpanzee society. She had shown him the depth of their emotions and the strength of their bonds, things no textbook could ever capture. Jan hoped his presence would provide some comfort to Mama. He wanted to be there for her in her final moments, to remind her she was not alone. But as he arrived at the Royal Burger Zoo, apprehension filled his heart. Would she recognize him? Would their bonds still hold meaning in her fragile state? Led to her enclosure, Jan saw Mama lying still, her once vibrant presence now a frail shadow of itself. He called out to her softly, "Mama, it's me, Jan. I've come to see you." There was no response. He tried again, louder this time, his voice filled with emotion. "Mama, do you remember me?" The staff watched anxiously, fearing the worst. But then something incredible happened. At the sound of Jan's voice, Mama's ears twitched. Her eyes fluttered open, searching the room until they found his face. Recognition sparked in her gaze. A hush fell over the enclosure as hope replaced despair. Jan gently reached out and took her hand. Tears welled in his eyes as he saw the glimmer of connection that had once defined their relationship. The staff, overwhelmed with emotion, watched as a profound moment unfolded before them. Jan continued speaking, recounting stories of their time together. He even hummed a familiar tune, one that had always comforted her. Slowly, Mama's fingers curled around his hand, her touch weak but unmistakable. It was a gesture of trust, of love, of recognition. For the first time in days, she showed signs of life. Her fingers twitched, her breathing seemed to deepen, and a flicker of recognition crossed her weary eyes. And then, something even more astonishing happened. Mama slowly lifted her frail arm and pointed toward a hidden corner of her enclosure. It was as if she was trying to communicate something important. Intrigued and slightly bewildered, Jan followed her gaze and cautiously approached the spot. What he found left him speechless. Beneath a small pile of straw lay a carefully hidden stash of food: ripe fruit, nuts, and even a few primate biscuits. The realization struck him like lightning. Mama had been saving them, as if waiting for the right moment. This hidden reserve was proof of something extraordinary. She hadn't completely given up. Deep down, despite her declining condition, she had been holding on, waiting for John to come. The revelation was as heartwarming as it was heartbreaking. Even in her weakest state, she had planned ahead, clinging to a fragile hope that he would be there for her. Overcome with emotion, John turned to the caregivers and shared his discovery. They too were astonished. It changed everything. Inspired by this newfound understanding, the caregivers adjusted their approach. Instead of simply offering food and hoping she would eat, they presented her with small, familiar portions of her favorite meals: bananas, figs, and the primate biscuits she had hidden. Slowly, she began to take tiny bites. Each mouthful was a triumph, a small but significant sign of her resilience. It wasn't just nourishment, it was a testament to her determination to keep going. The effect of this moment extended beyond just Mama. The entire chimpanzee colony, which had been noticeably subdued and anxious over her decline, began to shift in energy. The younger chimps, who had been unusually quiet, started moving closer to her enclosure. They observed her closely, vocalizing softly as if offering encouragement. The older members of the group showed signs of relief, their expressions and movements becoming livelier. The atmosphere transformed, charged with an unspoken understanding that their beloved matriarch was still holding on. As the days passed, John's continued presence had an even more profound effect. Each visit was met with subtle but undeniable progress. Mama's responses grew stronger. She began eating more regularly, small portions at first, but enough to restore some of her lost energy. Her eyes, once clouded with exhaustion, regained some of their clarity. She acknowledged the staff with brief glances, a flick of her ear, or a slight movement of her hand. Small gestures that carried immense meaning. One afternoon, as John sat beside her, speaking in his familiar, soothing tone, he suddenly came to a powerful realization. This wasn't just a case of a sick animal responding to care. Mama had not merely been waiting for him, she had saved her last reserves of strength, knowing he would come. It was an act of profound intelligence and emotion. She had trusted, deep within her being, that their bond was unbreakable. This epiphany overwhelmed him with emotion, bringing tears to his eyes. Their connection, built over decades, had given her a reason to hold on, even when her body was failing. Eventually, Mama passed away peacefully, surrounded by the familiar sounds of her colony and the comforting presence of Jan. It was a quiet, dignified departure, one befitting a creature as extraordinary as she was. Though her physical form was gone, her impact remained deeply ingrained in the hearts of those who had known her. Her life had been monumental, not just for the zoo but for primate research worldwide. To honor her legacy, the zoo held a heartfelt memorial, inviting researchers, staff, and members of the community to celebrate her remarkable contributions. There were tears, laughter, and countless stories shared about the chimpanzee who had defied expectations and touched so many lives. John spoke at the ceremony, his voice thick with emotion. Mama was more than a research subject. She was a friend. She taught us about the rich emotional lives of chimpanzees and the strength of their social bonds. Her legacy will live on in the work we continue to do. Mama's story extended far beyond the confines of the zoo. Footage of her final moments with John spread across the world, touching millions. She became a symbol of the deep connections that can exist between humans and animals, a testament to the intelligence, emotion, and social depth of chimpanzees. Scientists, conservationists, and everyday animal lovers were moved by her story, many finding a renewed sense of purpose in their efforts to protect and preserve these magnificent creatures. Have you ever observed a group of chimpanzees? Share your experiences in the comments. We'd love to hear your story. For now, though, this is the Animal Stories, signing off. Catch you in the next video.